Welcome to the Having It All podcast, the show about what it takes to live an abundant, loving life. My name is Matthew Bivens, and each week I'm helping you get out of your head so that you can truly have it all. Let's do it. What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Having It All podcast. My name is Matthew Bivens, and I'm going to be your host as we talk a little bit about what it looks like to live an abundant, loving life, because that's what I'm playing for. I'm playing to experience abundance and to experience love in all the most important areas of my life: faith, family, friends, fitness, finance, and fun. And that's what we talk about on this show every single week. If this is your first time here, welcome. We're going to get into some really cool stuff today. And what I love about today's topic is that it was not what I was originally intending. Today is one of those conversations where I had an idea in my mind, sat down, and then, life hit me because I took my game day this morning. I'll explain what that is, but whenever I take a game day, every 90 days I take my game day, and I get some real, raw, true feedback about how I've been showing up in life, and that always gives me greater perspective. And so today's episode is inspired by that feedback, and that's why it's like off the cuff. So I love these types of episodes because life is constantly happening. Circumstances are constantly happening. We're always getting feedback, and we're always having an opportunity to see ourselves in the feedback, to see ourselves in others. And I just love being inspired by things that are happening in real time because that's how life is. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about standards today. We're going to talk about your dreams and your goals. If you're a type of person who is focused on your dreams and is putting in a lot of energy towards reaching your goals, but you're seeing that things in your life just aren't flowing, then I want to offer an entirely different perspective on this that are around standards. So that's what I'm going to get into. But first, we got to talk about some magic. Got to dig into some magic. And my magic today is also gratitude. It's a bit of magic and it's a bit of gratitude mixed in. Now, for those unfamiliar with this word magic in the context of the Having It All podcast, what magic is, and that's my phone going off. I got to turn that off. I always do that. Or every once in a while, I leave my phone on. All right. What magic is, it's our abilities to influence self, others, and life in an empowering way. Again, our abilities to influence ourselves, other people, or life itself in an empowering way. And it's important that we have that empowering at the end of it because you know what? We can influence ourselves, others, and life in a disempowering way. Better believe it. All the time it can happen. But magic is when we do it in an empowering way and it lifts us up and it lifts up other people and it heals and it inspires and it motivates and it does all those amazing, beautiful things. And so, after I share my magic, I want you to pause the episode and reflect on some magic for you. All right, so my magic is yesterday I had a really amazing gathering with my community, with my tribe. And this happens every month. We get together. I'm part of this really phenomenal community in Atlanta, Georgia called the Your Day Balance Game. And it's a community all about health, fitness, balance, and love. And there's a lot of people playing this game who are looking to really see themselves, right? Really see themselves, really see who they are and how they're showing up in life because they're playing big games. And so they want to level up in their fitness. They want to level up in their lifestyle. They want to level up in their consciousness. And it's a sizable community here in Atlanta. And there's about 10 people that I meet with on a monthly basis who are really part of like my inner tribe. And so I am so grateful for those 9 folks who are in my life and hold such an amazing space for me that honestly it's overwhelming at times. It really is. And I've been going through some stuff lately. I've been feeling some ebbs and it's not fun. And so to see how the people in this community, to see how my tribe has shown up for me, has really come out and shown up for me when I'm feeling the ebbs, that has been truly magical, right? And yesterday we had a meeting, and it's our monthly meeting, and I was just sharing where I was at, I was sharing where I was at. Some of the stuff I was sharing, I didn't want to share with the group. I wanted to keep it in until I could figure it out myself. And then I wanted to present maybe a more empowered perspective. But I was like, no, that's not authentic, because what I'm going through right now is the realness. This is what I'm going through. So let me be open and vulnerable. And I shared with them, and, I got a lot of understanding from the folks. I got a lot of feedback from the folks, and I got a lot of love from my tribe. And, it's continued today with receiving text messages and phone calls and just people who are open to talk, right? Because they hold that space for me, and they see my greatness, and they see my worth. And then they can also see that I'm starting to doubt those things. So my magic is just having that crew and just seeing how they've shown up for me. And you know what? I really just want to stress the importance of having a tribe, having a community, having a village, whatever you want to call it. Because nothing great happens in life alone. It just doesn't. It really, truly doesn't. And, we're used to that saying, it takes a village to raise a child. But, it takes a village to raise us up as well, and to love on us and to support us. And so having that crew of people, it's transformed my life. Having a crew of people who are loving, empowering, who show up powerfully for themselves and then hold that space for me, people who are willing to be vulnerable, people who are willing to be courageous and move into discomfort even when they're scared out of their mind, people who hold themselves to a high standard, like having that type of energy around me on a daily, weekly, monthly basis has been the biggest factor in me being the man I am today. And so I just want to give a huge shout out to my crew, to my community. I want to give a shout out to these 9 individuals: Day, Shonda, Anthony, Erica, Donna, Bill, Nancy, Sandy, and of course, my funky dance partner for life, Sarah. She's a part of this crew as well. And a lot of gratitude for you all. Hey, listen, if you're ever in Atlanta too, I want you to come and hang with me and be a part of this community. This is an open, inclusive community. Every single person is invited. It doesn't matter your race, your religion, your sexual orientation, how much money you make, whatever. Everyone's invited. So if you're coming through Atlanta on a road trip, or you're stopping by, or you're vacationing here, come and check out this community, because it's from this community that this podcast arose. The seeds for this podcast were planted and were watered and nourished through this community. And we've got events that go down every single week. And so hit me up if you're in town. A number of you have already done that. And it's been really amazing to meet you all in real life, and to form connections, and to, bring you into the community. It's been incredible. So hit me up, Instagram message me, or email me if you want to come and be a part of this community. And my Instagram is Matthew_Bivens, and my email is mattcbivens@gmail.com. And, again, I just encourage you to go seek out community for yourself. I've had conversations with a lot of you all, with a lot of my clients, where it's like, how do I create a community like you've got? And you know what? Sometimes you got to go find them. That was the case for me. I had to go out and start being proactive, But listen, I guarantee you that there's a group of powerful people around you in your area that will welcome you, that will support you, that will love you, that will give you feedback, that will hold you to hold a space of growth for you, right? They are there. But you know what? You have to desire it, and you need to be proactive in seeking them out or attracting them into your life. So that's a little bit of magic and a little bit of a call to action for you. Don't worry, there'll be more as the episode progresses. So now pause the episode, think about some magic for yourself. How have you influenced self, others, or life in an empowering way recently? Go ahead and pause. And then we will continue to flow on to some listener love. I actually have 2 listener loves I wanted to read today, and they're both from Apple Podcasts. So these are recent reviews of the podcast, and I want to read them both. First one's short, second one's a little bit longer. The first one comes from Watercooler25, and Watercooler25 said, "This is a good show. This was an upbeat, meaningful show that I liked a lot. I can't wait to hear more episodes." So Watercooler25, thank you so much for taking a moment out of your day to go on to iTunes or Apple Podcasts and to leave a rating and leave a review. I appreciate your short and sweet review. I just really appreciate the effort because you could have done a bunch of other things, and I know it takes time. So thank you for that. The second review I wanted to read comes from Silly Boss Lady. And she says, "Well done, Matthew. It took a minute to listen to your podcast that included our conversation from a few weeks ago." And what she's referencing is Silly Boss Lady, a.k.a. Shonda, is part of my tribe, part of my crew here in Atlanta. And her and I had a powerful conversation about getting unstuck. And she was the one who shared with me this beautiful method about how to get unstuck in life. And I turned it into a podcast episode from April. So you can go back and listen to that. So anyway, Shonda continues, "What I love about your style, Matthew, is your ability to convey any message with such conviction and courage. I love the gentle yet authoritative way that you give the listener the tools, and I find this to be one of your many gifts and talents. It is no wonder you're one of the top self-help podcasters on iTunes. Yes, you are. And I'm sure you have given up many a story to remind yourself of that. I'm glad to also serve as one of your reminders. Cheers to you, my dear friend, for being so undeniably powerful. I'm truly inspired. Love, Shonda Lee, a.k.a. Silly Boss Lady." And Shonda, you already know it, but just tons of gratitude your way, appreciation, love. Thank you for those words. I receive them. They mean a tremendous, tremendous amount. Thank you, Shonda. So, Water Cooler 25 and Silly Boss Lady, they jumped onto iTunes or Apple Podcasts and left a review. And if you want to do the same thing, you can as well. You are more than welcome. I always appreciate when you subscribe to the show, when you leave a rating, when you leave a review. And you can give me feedback as well, Tell me what you don't like, tell me what you want me to change, all that great stuff. I just appreciate all of that extra engagement beyond listening. That's incredible. A lot of gratitude goes out to everybody who's listening, and gratitude goes out to people who kind of take it to the next step. So that is what I got for listener love. And I'm ready to talk about this episode now because it is fresh on my spirit. I'm still feeling it, and I'm going to continue to feel it. And what I want to talk about today starts with a quote. I'm not even sure who said it, but my buddy posted this on his Instagram, and I wanted to actually, read it and dig into it. And so my buddy Anthony Strayhorn, he's on Instagram, StrayFitATL, he posted this the other day, and it says, "We become our lowest standard, not our highest dream." So let me read that again so it can sink into you. We become our lowest standard, not our highest dream. Now, so many conversations in this personal development space, when you're talking about improving yourself or growing or building your dream life or whatever you want to say, so many of those conversations are focused on the dream. How big is your dream? Right? How big are those goals? How well outlined are they? Have you visualized what your dream, state is? Your dream house, your dream level of fitness, your dream state of beingness within yourself. Have you thought about all of those things? A lot of emphasis and energy is placed on that. However, what this quote is suggesting that it's not the height of our dreams that ultimately decides who we become. It's how low of a standard we hold for ourselves. And that right there is an incredibly powerful idea. It is incredibly, incredibly powerful. And, I talk a lot about beliefs on this podcast, that we all hold a lot of different beliefs, and not saying any one belief is right or wrong. I simply look at what is the consequence of holding that belief. So if you were to hold the belief that you become your lowest standard and not your highest dream, what would be the potential consequence of that? One consequence is that you could look around your life, look at the different areas where things maybe aren't going the way that you want them to go, where just things haven't been flowing. It's been more challenging. You haven't attracted the money you wanted to attract, or the partner you wanted to attract, or things you just felt stuck. And you can look at that, and instead of saying, well, you know what, I just don't have a big enough dream. I don't have a big enough why. I don't have enough motivation. I'm not hardworking enough. Instead of going down that route, you might be able to say to yourself, you know what? I might be settling. I might have lowered my standard. There might be a level of living and beingness that I'm simply tolerating. And as a result of tolerating this lowered standard, this is what's showing up in my life. Personally, I believe that to be 100,000% true. And I see how that happens in my life. And I'm going to give you a great example. As I said before, I took my game day today. And every 90 days, I take what is called a game day. And this is a fitness assessment. It looks at how I've been showing up for the past 90 days. And how I've been showing up over the past 90 days is reflected in my body. So, my lifestyle choices, my fitness choices, and my consciousness choices, my thoughts, my relationships to things, how I take on stress, all of that shows up in my body. So every 90 days, I take this game day, and I get feedback. I get numbers. I get actual numbers as to my body composition, my strength, my cardio, and my flexibility. And those numbers are revealing. Each one of those numbers tells me something else, tells me something different about how I've been showing up, who I have been being over the last 90 days. So when I took my game day today, just a few hours ago, I'm still feeling sore in my body. One of the things that came up for me was my level of surrender, where I'm at in surrender. Because one of the exercises is a squat hold. And in order to go the distance and max out, get the maximum number of points I can possibly get in a squat hold, a massive amount of surrender is required. And I did not come very close to that. So my surrender was low. And then while I was going through my run, a lot of dots started to connect for me around where I've lowered my personal standard and the result of lowering that standard. So I have a lot of different things that keep me accountable to playing a high game, keep me accountable to my health, keep me accountable to, just showing up powerfully for myself. And what was revealed to me during my game day was the past, I'd say at least 4 weeks, probably longer, I have dramatically lowered my standard. So what that has looked like is on my main personal accountability tool, my balance chart, I normally play for a 90% completion every week. But over the past 4 weeks, I have not come close to 90. I logged, I think, a 40-something 1 week, a 60 1 week, a 70 1 week, and my standard has typically been a 90, so I lowered that standard. In my weekly accountability group, we set very simple goals for ourselves, 3 of them each week. And when I look back over the last 4 weeks, I see, I haven't been hitting my goals. I get 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, but I haven't been hitting 3 out of 3 consistently, and that's what I play for. That's my standard. I have a mastermind that I take part in a couple times a week. And in that mastermind, we set very simple goals for our business. What do you think has been happening there? I haven't been hitting my goals. Every month, Sarah and I have had a standard of going through our numbers, looking at our personal finances, making a budget. Haven't been doing that past couple of months. And I started to connect those dots. And it was very fascinating because I found myself observing what is rather than becoming emotionally attached to it and making a lot of meaning out of it. Because the game day reveals just data, just tells you what is. And we then apply a lot of meaning to it. So for example, your body right now is telling you just what is. Your body is just simply telling you what's been showing up in your life, right? How you've been showing up. Now you're going to place all sorts of meaning on it. Well, because my stomach spills over this way, it means this. Well, because it takes a lot of energy for me to get up out of bed, it means that. I haven't been doing this. I know I haven't been doing that. I've been cheating over here and yada, yada. We place all that meaning on it when it's simply data. And so I'm grateful for the fact that I haven't been very emotionally attached to the data. I'm just looking at it and thinking, wow, okay, I'm seeing. Kind of like Neo at the end of the Matrix. He started to see all the green, right? He's like, yo, I can see it now. That's how I felt when I was going through my game day. So I think back to that statement. We become our lowest standard, not our highest dream. And if I really take that on and wear it on, then guess what? There should be zero surprise about how things have been going in my life recently, or at least how I've been feeling about how things have been going. Because what I've been feeling is that I've been on an ebb. I've been on a downturn. But you know what? The universe is abundant. It is. And abundance has been flowing around me all the time. So in actuality, what's happening is that my perspective has been shifted. My lens has been changed. And so I'm just seeing all the downward stuff, when in reality, abundance is everywhere. But anyway, my game day has just been this really great opportunity for me to check in with myself and get some raw feedback about how I'm showing up. Because, here's the thing. The way you do one thing is the way you do everything. So when I saw the lack of my surrender in my game day, when I saw how I haven't been showing up with my balance chart and how that has resulted in my game day numbers, you know what? I can see that it's not just in the game day. It's happening all over the place. And that, to me, is such beautiful evidence of how everything is connected. Everything is connected. And again, my perspective on it right now, I'm just like this fascinated observer, because it's very much cause and effect. Cause and effect says that one event, that's the cause, makes another event happen. That's the effect. Right? So my dropping my standard of keeping my commitments in my health, in my business, in my relationships, right? Dropping that standard, that's the cause, has created this effect of an emotional ebb in my life, an emotional downturn, where personal doubts start to creep in, not trusting myself starts to creep in, scarcity starts to creep in. And guess what? It's principle. It's not personal. It's cause and effect. That's just how that stuff happens. And I'm not taking it personally, and that's awesome. And so I share all of this with you so that now I can ask you, where have you been lowering your standards in your life? Where have you been tolerating things that don't serve you? They don't help you grow. They don't help you heal. They don't help you evolve. Where have you been playing smaller? And you know it. You know you're playing smaller. Where have you been doing that? Where have you been settling? Where have you been counting yourself out? Where have you been dismissing your worthiness? Because again, you will become your lowest standard, not your highest dream. The lowest standard that you're willing to tolerate, that's who you're going to become. Not the grandness of your vision for your life. Think about it like this. If you've ever played on a team, on any sports team, you're probably familiar with the idea of the weakest link. You're only as strong as your weakest link. So you can have a team of like let's think of a basketball squad, right? If a basketball team has got 4 just amazing players, but one person who's just not at that level, guess what's going to happen? The other team is going to exploit the weak link. And so they don't become all the 4 amazing players. No, you become that weak link. That's what happens in our lives. And by lowering your standards, you are simply reshaping who you're becoming. And 99.9% of the time, you're going to dislike the person you are becoming when you lower your standard. That's how it happens. So, if you're frustrated right now, if right now you're frustrated with how things have been showing up in your life, whether it's in your faith, your family, your friends, your fitness, your finance, your fun, your relationships, your money, whatever. If you've been frustrated with how things have been showing up, instead of looking outside for reasons about why that's happening, I invite you to look at where you have lowered your standard. Where have you lowered your standard? And listen, don't beat yourself up. This is not the time to do that. You probably do enough of that already. Stop beating yourself up. Stop judging yourself. That does not serve you. Simply observe. Simply observe. And think, wow, okay, you know what? I haven't been really liking how my body's been feeling. I haven't liked the state that I'm in physically. And if I think about it, I've lowered the standard of healthy foods that I eat. I've just allowed myself to eat whatever because I've been feeling bad. Or I've said, you know what, I don't need to go to the gym today. I had a hard day at work. I've lowered my standard. I just want you to observe those things. Don't get attached to them. Just simply observe them. Because once that connection is clear, once you really understand the connection between lowering your standard and where you are right now in life, now you have a starting place to actually do something about it. Now you can make a change. But it's not going to happen if you're emotionally attached. So just observe. All right? And once you've made that connection, okay, now it's time for a solution. The easy solution, you already probably know this. The easy solution to all this is to raise your standards. Yeah, get back to keeping the standard. If you don't have one, make one. If you don't have a standard about how you want to show up each and every day physically, make a standard. That might look like, okay, I want to go to the gym 3 times a week. That's my standard. I want to run 10 miles a week. That's my standard. I want to, choose to eat a salad for lunch 3 times a week. That's my standard. Whatever it is, make your standard. Now, oftentimes, you also need to add more accountability into your life in order to get yourself going to really maintain and then grow that standard. Because not keeping your word, which is what we've been doing, right? When you say you're going to do something, you don't do it. That's not keeping your word. So not keeping your word and lowering your standard is a sign of immaturity. It is. It's a sign of immaturity. And the way to rebuild your maturity is to increase your accountability until that integrity strengthens, until you really start to become that person who keeps their word, who does what they say they're going to do. So commit to raising your standards and install additional accountability structures into your life. Now, additional accountability structures can look like a lot of different things. It could look like you asking a friend to become an accountability partner, and the two of you setting up weekly check-ins where they can help you to keep your commitments. Simple. Or maybe you join some sort of accountability group or some sort of mastermind group where the group itself can help hold you accountable. Cool. Or maybe you use a tool. There's a bunch of fitness trackers out there. I use the balance chart. It's my favorite. The balance chart is an app that I have on my phone. And let the tool help you to stay accountable, right? You set the number of habits you want to hit every week, and then you do them. Or hire a coach. Hire a coach like me to work with you weekly or monthly to build up that say-do ratio so that you can turn your life around. So that you can start to feel better about how you're showing up, so that you can, accomplish things you want to accomplish. The point is, do something to raise your accountability and watch how the rest of your life raises along with it. That's how it happens, people. Cause and effect. It is not personal. And that's the coolest thing. It's not personal, which means every single person can do this. Every single person can see the benefits of it. And every single person will feel what happens, when you aren't keeping your commitments, when you're lowering your standards. It's a principle. So for me, because, right, I'm doing this stuff too. This whole episode was inspired by my game day and the feedback I was receiving and all of that. So for me, I've already talked to a member of my community about becoming my weekly accountability buddy. And her and I are going to be checking in with each other every week and seeing how we're doing in a couple of areas. Personal finances, right? Checking in on, am I looking at my numbers weekly? Am I making my budget? Completing my balance chart. Where am I at with hitting my 90% target? And hitting the other goals that I set in my other accountability groups. That's what I'm doing. Because my maturity for the past at least month has been low. So you know what? Let's put in an additional measure of accountability until that maturity raises and I don't need it anymore. And I'm back to playing, like I've raised my standard. That's what I'm playing for. So now it is time for you to go get into action. Go get into action. There's been enough conversation right now. You've done enough listening. Go get into action yourself. And listen, email me or direct message me if you want to talk about getting on the balance chart or working one-on-one around accountability, goal setting, and raising your standards. Get into action. You need to be proactive in this way. You can email me. I'm going to give you my business email, Matthew@MatthewBivens.com. Email me there and we can talk about increasing your accountability, developing standards for yourself, and really doing the things day in and day out to raise your level of personal integrity. And I promise you, you will watch as every other area of your life raises along with it, because everything is connected, and the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. It is so beautiful. So email me, matthewbivens.com. All right, that's it for today, everybody. I'm going to catch you on the next episode. My name is Matthew Bivens, and here is to you having an abundant, loving life. Peace. Quick note about the Having It All podcast. I am not a doctor nor a licensed therapist. I'm a guy with a story and a passion for conscious conversation. My thoughts, opinions, and beliefs are my own. So please consult with your doctor or healthcare provider regarding any questions or issues you have related to your personal, physical, or mental health.